Cyberpunk 2077, we're on Xbox Series X, going over the latest patch notes to the game. This is for patch 1.3, which will be available on PC, consoles, and Stadia. So these are all the details of things that they have updated and gone over. So I hope you enjoy. Liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, because this is quite a lot of work to put together. So anyways, we finally get some of the free DLC that we've been promised. This is available in the main menu under additional content, quote unquote. The 1.3 patch delivers the following free DLCs. The Johnny Silverhand's alternative appearance can be enabled in settings in the additional content tab. The multi-layered Sin Leather Delta Jock jacket and the luminescent Punk jacket, both available in the stash in V's apartment after receiving a message from Victor after completing the ride. They're of rare/iconic quality by default. Crafting specs to craft a higher quality will also be unlocked. Finally, there's the Archer Quartz Bandit, available as a reward or for purchase depending on choice made by players after completing Ghost Town and then receiving a message from Dakota or Rogue. If you haven't received the message, make sure to be in the Badlands area and move further away from Dakota's workshop. Dakota will also need a couple of days to contact you, so keep that in mind if you're waiting for a fancy new option. And now we break down into the improvements. So they have improved the minimap's zoom level when driving so that it's more zoomed out and easier to navigate. Automatic love. Screen with pictures of Sky and Angel will be displayed substantially longer, making it easier to choose between the two. I think that's actually quite helpful. Added a button which allows to relocate the distribution of perk points on a character skill tree. Increase the number of slots for autosaves from 10 to 20, and for quick saves from 3 to 10 across all platforms. Added database links to journal entries. Added an accessibility option for the center of screen dot overlay, which helps with reducing/avoiding motion sickness. It can be enabled in settings, interface, center of the screen dot overlay. Fixers will now message V to offer a car for purchase less often. Improve the screen space reflections effect so that it looks less grainy on consoles and on lower visual settings qualities on the PC. Added a filter for quest items in the backpack. Quest item tags for miscellaneous job items will now be removed after finishing associated quests, allowing to sell or drop them. It is now possible to rotate V in the inventory with a mouse. That's interesting. Players will now properly be able to craft a quick hack, even if they once crafted it and then got rid of it. They have added a comparison tooltip for cyberware. Improved a notification when buying cyberware and not meeting the level requirements to equip it. It's now possible to upgrade crafting components in bulk. Added new sleeping spots for Nibbles in V's apartment. Icon on disposal crate will now turn red when player picks up a body instead of being grayed out. Landmine icon will now be grayed out after disarming it. It's now possible to use an elevator while carrying a body. Cool. Happy Together Berry now has an updated, more unique appearance. Base item will now be highlighted green, like other components, if it's present in the inventory when crafting the same item of a better quality. So there are now a number of balance changes that we'll be getting to, because there are a ton of these things. Keep in mind this is going to take a while. Detection time of enemies now depends on the game difficulty. Enemies on easy and normal difficulties will now detect the player slower. Enemies on very hard difficulty will detect the player faster. Enemies of very hard difficulty, and only that difficulty alone, will now be more aggressive when searching around when they are in the alerted state. NCPD will no longer react and turn hostile because of dead bodies in open world activities. NCPD will now also react at hitting NPCs with a non-lethal weapon. Adjusted the damaging process when shooting crowd NPCs while in combat depending on the distance and the weapon used. Don't fear the Reaper, improved Atom Smasher's behavior during the fight. Play it safe, improved Otto's behavior during the fight. Transmission, improved Placide's behavior during the fight. Transmission, increased Placide's hacking resistance. Cyber Psycho Sighting, letter of the law, improved Cyber Psycho's behavior during the fight. Every breath you take, improved Red Menace's positioning and aim. Increased stats of the La Chigona Dorada, Jackie's iconic pistols. The Rescue, increased the number of ammo at the beginning of the quest. Introduced minor tweaks and improved balancing of the Contagion quick hack. Improve the crafting system so that items with random quality scale their quality with players' crafting skill. It's not possible anymore to roll a quality exceeding that of the relevant crafting skill. The level requirement of items will now increase with each upgrade. Note, the level of upgraded items will be adjusted as a result of this change. The equipped items which exceed the level requirement can be used, but if unequipped, we'll have to wait until the required level is reached. Added more crafting specs for cyberware mods. Added crafting specs for knives, available from the start of the game. Updated the number of components required to craft some weapons. Bounce back, max stock, quick hacks, clothing mods, and some weapons. Balancing of crafting specs for clothing mods. Balancing the number of components required to craft clothing. Balancing the number of components required to craft Sandvestin fragments. Optical camo cyberware will now be available for purchase from Ripper Docs. Adjusted price of the sensory amplifier cyberware mod. Rare Unity crafting spec will now be obtainable only during suspected organized crime activity, Tigers by the Tail. Change the price and quality of Carrie's guitar that can be obtained during Gig Psychofan. Gameplay. Fix an issue where crafting specs from the clothing stores were available only during the first visit to a vendor. Fix an issue which occurred after visiting the Nomad camp, resulting in being unable to use weapons and quick menu items. Fix an issue where hacking a neutral target wasn't counted towards a Christmas tree attack achievement. Oh, the Christmas tree attack achievement, sorry. Tutorial windows about skill checks will no longer pop up when the unauthorized prompt is displayed on devices. V will no longer look down after using fast travel. That's a good one. Adjusted functionality of multiple perks. So, hit the deck perk will now work properly on knockdown and staggered NPCs. Can't touch this perk will now grant the player immunity to blind from their own flash grenades. Crazy Science perk will now properly increase the sale price of all items. Hacker Overlord perk will now grant a recipe for the epic whistle quick hack. Guitars for New Dawn Fades will no longer disassemblable and won't be automatically disassembled when having the Scrapper perk. Player will now properly have the chance of looting a weapon attachment with the Mech Looter perk. Minor fixes to how V behaves when dialogue is fast forwarded. Fix an issue where player could get stuck in a changing position between crouching and standing after skipping dialogue. V will no longer holster a weapon after skipping dialogue while holding it. V will no longer be stuck in a loop after skipping a holocall dialogue while falling into the water. It's oddly specific. Fixes related to crafting and some adjustments. Pricing. It is no longer possible to exploit the epic Untitled 18 versus the 2021 painting by selling and buying it back. Added a quality setting to Sandvestin fragments crafting space. Rebalanced and added some loot, fixed items that couldn't be picked up. So this is the adjustment for certain loot elements. Little things here or there in regards to that. An exploit where player could loot the XPD's dealer's body from his body after killing him a disaster piece. Remove duplicate loot from an open world activity. Fix the appearance of a junk item. You know, smaller stuff like that in that one, so not a huge deal to go over some of those. Remove legendary mat displays from Royce's office in the pickup. Stuff like that. Added new items and removed duplicate items from vendor stocks. Removed duplicate crafting specs from the weapon shops in Vista Del Rey, the Glen, Rancho Coronado, Badlands, Pacifica. Added some food items to the trailer park food vendor stock. Fixed behavior of multiple visuals and behavior of multiple devices. Vending machine appearances not corresponding to what they have in stock. Optimization related to various devices. Fixing text. Some animation of enemies distracted by a water sprinkler. Untranslated text. NPCs killed by a car elevator will no longer clip with it or pop on its surface. Removed a redundant scanning component in hide access points. Fixed an issue in Riders of the Storm where scanning a forklift in the Raffin shift camp caused an enemy to be highlighted. Ceiling turrets will no longer begin firing before facing the target. Taking control of a camera while swimming will no longer break the UI. Remove the laser effect from cameras and fried circuits. Again, there's a lot of these like smaller things. Fixed a barbed wire that didn't deal any damage. Missing animation with jacking into a device and old giggled friends. Fix various issues with elevators. So elevators, some of the ones are fixed up. There's like 3 or 4 things there. Introduce various fixes and improvements towards behavior and reaction of NPCs and living city in general. Turds should now have a common target with NPCs. Adjust the NPC's behavior when their car is stolen. NPCs will no longer react by crouching to every gunshot. Fix an issue where NPCs wouldn't run away from combat scenes. Traffic vehicles will now honk after hitting V. Vehicles will no longer get stuck in their position upon saving and loading into the game when they're in the air. I always thought that was funny. Fixed different quick hacks and scanning related issues. Introduced minor tweaks and improvements. Fixed FPPP camera so that it doesn't drop when starting to scan. Improved performance when opening the scanning menu. Security cameras with fried circuits can no longer be hacked. Fixed an issue when available quick hacks could be doubled. Added dying animation for NPCs killed with the short circuit quick hack. The Tiger Claw boss in Pisces can now be hacked during combat. It was always weird that you couldn't do that. Let's see, ladders will no longer be displayed as turned on while scanned. Smooth controller surveillance options with the remote drones. Human names will no longer be displayed above robots and mechs while scanning. Improved NPCs' behavior in combat and fixed various issues related to it. So these are various smaller little texture things, little small problems during some of the missions. NPCs will no longer keep hiding cover after being flanked. Polished grenade trajectory preview for extreme angles. Disabled mirror interactions during combat. Tweaked and improved some of the player mechanics. Fixed an issue that blocked double jump during holocaust. Fixed an issue where V could be launched into the air when attempting to jump through or climb various terrains throughout Night City. Bodies dumped in the Thorn Galena goal will no longer stick outside the back of the car. Fixed an issue with weapons becoming invisible after selecting them rapidly when scrolling the mouse. It is no longer possible to open a trunk of the car while it leaves with Jotaro's body inside in Gig Monster Hunt. Added animation for picking up and dumping bodies in vehicle trunks. It is now possible to stash NPCs in the trunk of a Villaforte Cortez. Fix an issue with the Beastemy City Center where Claire's car could not be spinning around in the circles instead of driving away if the player chose not to go with her in the garage. She just spins around in circles. That's funny. Players can no longer use frightened NPCs as human shields when a police warrant is applied. Fix an issue where V was unable to fast climb or slide down ladders. Fixed issues with cyberware. Titanium bones cyberware will no longer appear as duplicated at the Wellsprings Ripperdock. Fixed an issue where the name of the cyberware on cooldown wasn't displayed. Adjusted functionality of some mods. Deadeye clothing mod now works properly. Panacea and Super Insulator clothing mods will now protect players against EMP grenades. Stability and performance across platform. So this is across all the different platforms. Multiple performance improvements, including dynamic resolution scaling improvements, improved frame rate consistency, resulting in fewer hitches and spikes, especially during combat. Various streaming improvements, including fixed a streaming issue affecting performance in the city center district. Memory optimization and memory management improvements in various systems, reducing the number of crashes. Numerous crash fixes, including fixed crashes that occurred when loading a save file after the car combat sequence with the Arasaka agents. Fixed a crash that occurred when waiting for Thompson before leaving Atlantis in Never Fade Away. Fixed a crash that occurred after turning off and on crowds on the minimap option in settings multiple times. That is very oddly specific again. A lot of these fixes sometimes are like super specific. UI, Delmain's image will no longer get stuck on holocaust when V leaves the car too fast. Item tooltip will no longer disappear if the content is too long. Fixed various typos in subtitles, shards, quests, and weapons descriptions. Added a text message received after filing apostrophe North Oak by leaving the Delmain cab. Changed back the name of fast travel points near V's apartment to Mega Building H10. Removed some items labeled as none. The on hover menu with multitude of mods will now show stats properly. Brazilian Portuguese language issues. Black market battery mod description not displayed the proper settings. Contagion quick hack button was missing. Status effects icon of cold blood perk now look like a snowflake. Pump dual layer tank top will now be visible in the inventory when equipped. Added a loading screen tooltip about fast forward. Fixed the Galeno Gecko vehicle's name. Image in the second message from Nancy Harlan and hold on /killing and name will now be displayed properly. Adjusted wording on crafting skill progression. The image displaying the Mackinac MT-11 call vehicle now match the car's model. Remove debug strings from the good, the bad, and the ugly's perks tooltip. Icon grouping artifacts will no longer get detached from their respective locations. When stamina meter is depleted, the appropriate icon will now appear to the health bar. Delegate description allows properly for the Villa Fort. The period of possible occurrence in the description of the somatic accelerator and the tooltip will now display a proper value. Fist's description in the vehicle wheel will now display an appropriate item type. Fixed text in the shard about the Shiba 11 district. Opening photo mode and a vendor menu in quick succession will no longer result in freezing the game. Gold iconic loot icons will now be displayed on the minimap. Fix an instance where hit markers and kill confirmation weren't visible when destroying enemy turrets. Fix enemy markers instead of the incorrect color on unaware enemies, they will now be yellow instead of red. Fix an issue when RAM recovery rate below 0.5 was not displayed correctly. Fix an issue when the disassembled item button was displayed incorrectly. Fix an issue where the buttons on switching mods were not warning as intended. Removed redundant input hints in the Cyberdeck panel. Fix the non-functional hinted keys when the breaching protocol. Graphics, audio, animation. Reinforced composite lined rocker folder top is now aligned with V's legs. Fixed an issue where the monowire could slightly dislocate male V's arms and clip through clothing. Fixed an issue in the heist where Flathead's case could float outside the hotel room, blocking the doorway. Fixed an issue where changing music volume in the sound settings after affected car radio alongside with the background music so the car sounds are fixed up. Fixed an issue where Takamura's voice was doubled while talking to V in the van down in the street. Fixed an issue where some net running suit clipped with female V's legs and male V's pants. Fixed an issue with some net running suits clipped with female V's legs and male V's pants. I think we just said that. Yeah, I doubled up on that one. The other one's basically the same. Fixed an issue with the running animation after jumping on downwards or upward slopes. Fixed dust particles, which were sometimes incorrectly displayed. Character skin will no longer become too bright in dark areas. In the Information Smasher's shadow will no longer appear on the elevator's door after rewinding Brain Dance to the beginning. Fixed Arasaka's soldiers spawning on player's site when going back upstairs to save Takamura in Search and Destroy. Environmental and level details. Fixed various map holes in Watson City Center, Westbrook, Haywood, and Santo Domingo. Fixed faulty pathing for vehicles on the City Center Ring Road. Fix multiple places where players like character could get stuck permanently. Fix multiple issues with the disappearing environments. Fix multiple issues with objects popping in on players' sites. GPS in Biotechnica Flats will no longer lead players to unreachable areas. Quests. Rearrange shards into correct categories. Fix an issue where calls to quest NPCs would abruptly end, making the NPC appear and potentially break other holocalls from the NPC. Fix an issue where interrupted holocall would resume along with other call, which could make the NPC appear in other calls and break the next holocall from the NPCs. So we've got a lot of smaller quest adjustments as well, so we might go back to that in a sec, but I want to get to the other details because there's like tons of little quest changes. Open world. Fixed an issue allowing multiple debrief holocalls from fixers to play at once, which could lead to block completion of various gigs such as Gig, a lack of empathy, Gig Fixer, Merc, Soldier, Spy, and others. They are continuing to work on visual issues related to gigs stuck in the journal that don't prevent strict achievements from unlocking. Removed redundant loot from the body in the Ferris wheel. Fixed an issue where the Quadra Type 66 could be destroyed before buying it, blocking progression of its buy vehicle quest and possibly the completion of the Auto Jock achievement. Fixed an issue in a shootout in Wellsprings where enemies were immortal because the trigger area was too small. Cinematic design. Fixed an issue causing NPCs to not look at V during various scenes. Fixed an exploit where player was granted a Unity pistol after each save/load. V's facial animations while looking in the mirror will not be displayed properly. Fixed an issue where Rogue was spawning next to the player after calling her and asking about Adam Smasher. Fixed an issue where some NPCs could stop performing animations after a longer game session. Fixed multiple NPC issues with mounting vehicles. Fixed various issues with NPCs be incorrectly placed and clipped through objects after after loading a save game. Fixed an issue that could cause NPC animations to be played in the wrong spot in various quests. Fixed an issue where Jackie could spawn before the player's eyes during the half-year montage. Creepy. Fixed an issue where NPC's appearance got randomized when looking away. Fixed an issue where quests and scenes could progress before the loading screen disappeared. Miscellaneous. A gift from Judy can now be found in V's apartment after the player receives a text after it after completing her romance side quests. Yes! Fixed some story inconsistencies in radio broadcasts. Fixed the blackout effect during Love Like Fire when using certain language settings. PC specific. Fix the issue where tutorial tooltips weren't displayed correctly on 8K screens. Who's using 8K screens? Good for you if you are. Fix an issue that caused the game to crash if a save thumbnail was corrupted. Fix toggling windowed and full screen modes after the Alt-Enter shortcut. It is now possible to exit locked scanning overlay by pressing Tab. Add a more compact PC version of the mouse cursor. Console specific. Inner dead zone setting will now be applicable also to the game menus. PlayStation NPCs will no longer speak after being killed. Zombies. Improve streaming of City Lights. Overwriting a save game when there is insufficient memory space will no longer corrupt the save. Masks and tubes inside the barn in The Hunt will no longer be invisible. Rogue will no longer clip through Johnny and will hold the glasses correctly in Ghost Town. Fix an issue in The Rescue where loading a save in front of the police blockade results in an NCPD officer not starting dialogue, blocking progress. Fix an issue on PS4 where the meeting scene with Judy and Dolls and Pisces wouldn't start properly. Xbox. Fix an issue in A Cool Metal Fire where part of the scene at Cassius Ryder's clinic could be cut off after the fade out. Fix an issue where weapons were equipped to the wrong slot when assigning them from the backpack. And they note many, many more. So I did skip over a number of smaller things. This included a selection of quest-specific adjustments, since there's like 20 of these different things, and gig adjustments and cinematic design adjustments. So we're gonna quickly kind of pop through these. These are the quest changes. Disaster piece, fix some issues with the Judy spawning in the van. Give me danger, fix when it wasn't possible to interact with Takamura. I walk the line, shutters leading to the cinema will no longer be closed, blocking access. Proper net watch runner area will work. Play it safe, some adjustments to the holo call issues, various smaller fixes to the parade sequence. Spray paint, remove the relic malfunction when you're talking to Brendan. Coin-operated boy, the quest will no longer stay undiscovered. Sweet dreams, Stefan is no longer missing. Fix some progressional issues, automatic love. Fix some invisible barrier, some issues with guards not working. Beat on the brat, fixed issues with quests getting stuck, characters not moving properly. Big in Japan, Tiger Claw gangs will no longer engage in combat with each other. The quest will now fail upon getting out of the vehicle having driven into the water. Blistering Love, fixed an issue where the quest wouldn't update after arriving with Rogue. Boat Drinks, quest no longer fail after being completed when V chooses to go to the city with Carrie and uses fast travel. Both sides now, no longer possible to interact with Judy's mirror while Johnny is leaning on it. Don't lose your mind. There's a core room fix. Down on the street, fix a small issue where you can talk to Wakako. Dream on. Some smaller issues about Elizabeth not moving right. X Factor, fixed an issue that caused the quest to stay active after completion to shoot the thrill. Something about taking a gun that wasn't possible. No longer possible to jump into the open world from the rooftops in Afterlife. Fortunate Son. Point of interest is proper. There are so many of these. Forward to Death. More smaller issues. Collision in vehicles. Full disclosure. An issue under certain circumstances. The quest wouldn't progress after defeating Sandra. Ghost Town. Some call issues. Fixed where Panam is having issues with hanging. Happy Together. Hanging out and stuff like that. Happy Together, getting in combat at Barry's apartment during the night. Talk to Barry will no longer fail the quest. Oh, that's good, because that one screwed up for me. Heroes, Gustavo and Martha will no longer be present, and El Coyote Kojo if the player left. It's no longer possible to get stuck inside Chaki's garage. I fought the law, progressional blocks, killing in the name, fixed an issue where it wasn't possible to talk to Johnny near the fortune teller. Life during wartime, AV issues. A Like Supreme, fix some specific circumstance issues. Love's Like Fire, it's no longer possible to use the chopper rotor to get out of the roof area. The map, Tan Pelin, fix some issues where the player couldn't progress in the hotel. Overwatch in Nocturne Op 55. Sniper Rifle will no longer get removed from the player's inventory. Practice makes perfect, VR tutorial fix. Pyramid Song, no longer possible to save the game during the scene with Judy. Raymond Chandler Evening. The quest no longer fail if there's a car parked at the entrance. Riders of the Storm. Vehicle chase issues. Second conflict. More chase issues. Send in the clowns. Players can no longer block progress. Small man, big mouth. Conversational fix. Space Odyssey fix. An issue where killing one of the homeless could result in his body blocking access to the laptop. Stadium 11 fix. An issue where quest when complete if player engaged in combat. The Ballad of Buck Ravers, fixed an issue with Johnny. The Beast of Me, racing issues, Corporal Rat, Destination issue, the gun fixed an issue where it's no longer an option to collect the gun from Wilson. The Heist, various smaller fixes, Highwayman, adjustment to some of the journal stuff. The Hunt, a prompt wouldn't work, now it does. The Pickup, a pile of smaller fixes about progressional on that one. The Ride is no longer possible to get interrupted. Hello Call with Jackie, the space in between. Fix an issue where Fingers wasn't in his clinic. There's light that never goes out. A failed quest fix. Transmission. Black screen issues. Venom, Venus and Fures. It is no longer possible to get stuck in the room with Meredith Strout. War Pigs fix an issue where Johnny wasn't spawning in to talk to Johnny. We gotta live together. Small Nomad initiation issues, and with a little help from my friends, some smaller progressional things. And then there's just like a pile of small gig things where it's kind of like fail scenarios for gigs are all fixed. A lot of the different quests. Same with cinematics, a lot of adjustments where you can use cinematics properly and they're no longer broken. I think that about covers it all. That's Cyberpunk 2077's update. Like the video, subscribing is great as well, and I'll see you for the next one.